In this lesson, we will be reviewing the concept of dividing fractions. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to answer the question, how do I divide fractions? Dividing fractions is very similar to multiplying fractions. As a matter of fact, we don't actually divide fractions. Instead of dividing fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. Some of you may be familiar with the word reciprocal. When you have a fraction, the reciprocal means you flip the numerator and denominator. So the reciprocal of a over b would be b over a. The reciprocal of 5 over 7 would be 7 over 5. Okay? So if we look at this example, we have 5/8 divided by 15/16. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the first fraction the same. So 5/8 is going to stay 5/8. But instead of dividing fractions, we multiply. So my division sign becomes multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 15/16 is 16/15. Now this is a multiplication problem, similar to the ones that we worked with in our last lesson. When we follow our multiplication rules, we look at our diagonals to see if we can simplify. So if I look at my 8 and 16, I want to think of a number that both of those numbers can divide by. And in this case, 8 and 16 can both be divided by 8. When I divide 8 by 8, I get 1. When I divide 16 by 8, I get 2. In the other diagonal, I have a 5 and a 15. Both 5 and 15 can be divided by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So now my multiplication problem becomes 1 over 1 times 2 over 3. When I multiply straight across, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. 2/3 is my final answer. Again, the reasonableness of fractions is kind of hard to figure out. We'll talk about that in class at another time. I do, however, want to look at another example. In this example, we are given mixed numbers. Because we changed divide to multiply, and when we multiply, we cannot have mixed numbers, this problem, 3 3/4 divided by 1 9/16, needs to be changed to improper fractions. So if I look at 3 3/4, to make that improper, I do 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 3 is 15. Over 4, I keep my denominator the same. 1 9/16 needs to change also. 16 times 1 is 16, plus 9 is 25, over my denominator, which I will keep as 16. So now we have our division problem that we need to change to multiply by the reciprocal. So my first fraction is going to stay 15 over 4, but we change division to multiply by the reciprocal, and the reciprocal of 25/16 is 16/25. So here we have our multiplication problem that we're going to try to cross simplify. If I look at my first diagonal with 4 and 16, both of those numbers can be divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. On my other diagonal, 15 and 25 can both be divided by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So I now have 3 over 1 times 4 over 5. And if I multiply straight across, 3 times 4 is 12 over 1 times 5 is 5. 12/5 is an improper fraction. And in algebra, we do a lot of work with improper fractions. So we're not going to change it to a mixed number. We're just going to leave it as it is. I would like you to try this problem. Please pause the video. And once you've worked out the problem, you can start the video again and check your answer. Okay, so 8/9 divided by 2 1/3. 8/9 is a fraction that's not a mixed number, so we can leave it. But we do need to change that 2 1/3 into an improper fraction. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So that is the same as 7 over 3. We're going to keep that same denominator, 3. So now we have 8/9 divided by 7/3. Again, we never ever divide fractions. We change it to multiplying by the reciprocal. 8/9 is going to stay. We're not going to divide, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. And the reciprocal of 7/3, hopefully you had 3/7. So now we have our multiplication problem. Let's look at our diagonals. If we look at 9 and 3, both of those numbers can be divided by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. When we look at our other diagonal, we have an 8 and a 7. There's not a number besides 1 that goes into 8 and 7. We cannot use 1 because 1 goes into every number. So other than 1, there are no numbers that 8 and 7 can both be divided by. So we leave them as 8 and 7. So we now have 8 over 3 times 1 over 7. And when we multiply straight across, on the top we have 8 times 1 is 8. On the bottom, the denominator, we have 3 times 7, which is 21. So hopefully, when you work this out, you got 8/21. If you have questions on dividing fractions, we can talk about those in class. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.